Good morning, gang. Well, I say good morning. I have no idea when you're watching this. Whatever time of day you're experiencing currently, good tidings to you. Welcome to Kapena Cove, or at least an early incarnation of it. I'm currently out here on my back porch, having a morning pipe, enjoying my morning coffee, and I thought to myself, why not make a little tour video of the bar so far. Initially, I was going to wait until the bar was done before I did a complete tour of it. But then I realized two things. One, tiki bars are never completed. They're in a constant state of flux and motion. And number two, I'm supposed to be documenting the build, right? So I figured maybe you guys would want to see what it looks like now, so that someday, when I do a tour of a bar that is more in line with what I envision in my brain, you can see how far I've come. So come along with me. I'll be your captain for this tour of my bar so far. Let's do a walk of Kapena Cove in its infancy. Come with me, won't you? Whee! Well, I've kind of got the bar broken up into three sections. Four, really. We'll start with currently what is the most boring section, and that's because I really don't have any decorations up over here, as this is going to be sort of the gateway to the paradise that is Kapena Cove. I figured that I would show it first. It's a mess. Right now it's sort of storage for various barrels, fencing, weed mat, old bikes and yard equipment, but eventually all of this stuff will be moved. So I do apologize for the state of the side of the yard right now. It will eventually look much better. But as you can see right now, I don't have a side gate. We get these crazy windstorms here late in the summer, and the gate kind of rotted out and kind of fell off. So I do need to replace the gate. I have, like, in the other side of my backyard that I'm not using anymore, like an old chain link gate. I think I might put that there and then strap like bamboo poles or reed matting or something onto the gate to kind of hide the fact that it's chain link, and that'll be a nice like tropical entryway to this corridor to paradise, or what will be a corridor to paradise eventually. This whole side yard will get filled up with potted plants along this side and along this side, as well as fish nets on the fence, various flotsam and jetsam like fishing floats and lanterns, maybe some vintage life rings. I would like to put another water feature over here somewhere, and as you're walking along, there'll just be all kinds of nautical things. Every good tiki bar needs that metaphorical bridge that takes you from the humdrum daily rat race of life. As you walk over that bridge, you know you're on your way to somewhere special, an escape into the mysterious and the unknown, an escape into a more simple place where one can lounge about, enjoy a Mai Tai, contemplate the mysteries of the universe, enjoy some exotica music, and just vibe. So eventually, this will become that metaphorical bridge. I thought about maybe even putting down some like wood planks across the cement to kind of look like a pier or a bridge, pylons on either side. After you go over the bridge, there's this little side area here that I've decorated with some yard ephemera. I had this old scythe, this like old like saw, and this old hay hook that I hung up. Not really tiki, but I had them and I thought they looked good there. But I found this cool boar crossing sign. So I had the notion that I would like hang some various signs up here and there, warning of like the local wildlife, right? Some of my herbs, I have some galvanized tubs here. This one has lavender, but I also have, of course, my mint. You gotta have a supply of fresh mint for cocktail garnishes. How are you gonna drink a Mai Tai without fresh mint, right? I have an old ship's wheel here that I got from a gentleman a town over that has this like perpetual estate sale. I believe the guy used to be an antiques dealer, and he's got so much old stuff over there. So he's been a really cool resource to have. I almost forgot to show this anchor that I have. The dude that I was talking about that has the ongoing estate sale had that, and he sold it to me for a really good price. It's a really awesome old ship's anchor. I had thought about painting it black, but I think I'm just gonna leave it the color that it is. Got a really nice patina. This is my sage. Don't ask me why I planted sage, I just like sage. Another thing I want to do right here is get some bamboo poles and some skulls and make like some skulls on pikes. Kind of put them in the ground right here in these rock areas between the planter beds, and then just hang more like fish nets, and signs on the fence just to kind of fill it up. If you guys have any more ideas about what I could do to either that gateway corridor or the side yard here, let me know, because I'm always open to new ideas and hearing the things that you guys have done or ideas that you have for your tiki bars. One resource that I found very helpful and inspiring is some of the tiki bar groups on Facebook are really cool, and I see so many amazing bars. I'm not going to be ashamed of the fact that I am completely saving those pictures that you guys are posting. I'm stealing some of your ideas because there are some really, really neat things in those tiki bar groups. So kudos to you guys. Some of you guys have some amazing spaces. This is an old gate that I put up when we had dogs, because this was the dog run. So this is kind of ramshackle, but I kind of do want to make that into like an archway, maybe a bamboo archway with some thatch above it. And then as you come through, you make a right and you end up walking through into Kapena Cove. All right, so this is the rope swing area. This is my favorite place on the whole back patio. This is where I sit every morning when possible and have my coffee, make my notes, sometimes smoke a pipe, and every evening, if I can help it, read a book, enjoy a cocktail, what have you. I have my little table here, my little rattan table. Makes a nice little staging area for my my pipe stuff and my coffee and my books and my notepad, my little nest. Yes, I light my pipe with a barbecue lighter. Some of you pipe enthusiasts are cringing at that thought, but you know what? It works for me, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Fight me. Above the rope swing, I have these bamboo bird cages. I found that one at a thrift shop ages ago. Got that one at like a vintage market. I think it was like $5. They sell like fake parakeets and birds that actually chirp and stuff like that. I may buy like some fake birds to put in there. I may turn those into lamps at some point, or I may just get more like vines and plants and kind of like use them as a staging area for some plants to kind of hang down and droop down out of the bird cages. But for right now, they look really good hanging in that corner. I'm looking at each one of these sections where there's an opening between the beams. As you can see, there's like one section here. There's one section in the middle where the bar is. And then way over there, there's like another section where there's an opening that goes out to the yard. I have these canvas drop cloths hanging up there right now for privacy and shade. It's a temporary solution. Eventually, there will be a semi-enclosed like lattice work thing here that I'll talk about in a minute. But for now, it's fine. Again, the bar so far, right? So what I'm going to do is talk about each section. This first section is kind of the lounge, where you would just sit, chill, hang out. That second section is the bar area. And that third section is going to be kind of like the jungle area, where the jungle is encroaching on our little outpost here. There's also a movie screen over there, so it'll also probably be the theater. And it's also where the fountain is. So there's a lot going on over there, but that's essentially going to be like the jungle area, where all the vines and plants and greenery will be. But right now we'll just talk about the lounge, because that's where we're standing. I have some lanterns, an old straw hat that I got at a gas station. Nothing special. It looked kind of tropical, so I hung it up. I have my fishnets and fishing floats. And then right next to that is sort of my Jaws homage. I have a framed photograph of Captain Quint from Jaws that will eventually get a better frame, something made of bamboo or something made of wood. But for now, he looks good there in his black frame. This is not a replica of the machete that he uses in the movie. The machete he uses in the movie is a World War I machete, I believe. But that's the machete that I had, so that's the machete that I hung up. This is an orca sign that I made using an old piece of wood and some wooden letters. And I just painted it up to look old and added some black wash and some grime and roughed it up. I put some old nautical cleats here and here to hang things from. I have my little Jaws bottle opener that I found online. You can use to open a bottle of Narragansett if you have it. I have these resin shark jaws that I found on Etsy. I have a real shark jaw taxidermy in the house, but it's a little delicate, and I don't really have a way to hang it out here without it falling apart. If I can find some way to protect that, I may move that out here as well, because if you're doing a little quint area, I think you really need more than just one set of shark jaws. There's my Sportsman's Paradise license plate. There's like a boat bumper. Found that at a thrift store for like $5. That's a candle holder, but I think at some point that will become a lamp. Thrift stores are great places to find shells. Shell necklaces, shell garlands, all of these are from thrift stores. I I have a ton of them, and every time I see them at a thrift shop or a swap meet, I buy them because they're great to drape on things hanging from the ceiling or just to have hanging around as like garlands and whatnot. They're really good space fillers, and they really go with like the sort of scavenged nautical decor, I think. That fishing float right there I found on Maloa'a Beach in Kauai. Smuggled it in my suitcase and brought it home. This I found at an antique store. Might become a lamp at some point. I've got some various lanterns hanging from the ceiling. These will get put somewhere else at some point because I'm not super happy with the way it all looks over here right now. That guy right there I found in Old Town San Diego ages ago. That was my grandmother's. I don't know, it's like an old 70s lantern of some kind. Still holds oil and it still lights. I got a lot of these nautical pulleys from a family friend who used to haul scrap metal. He would come to me and be like, hey, do you want this old pulley? Do you want this old hunk of metal? I'm like, absolutely, I want that. He was always bringing me cool shit like that. Thank you, Kenny. This is just a bottle that I roped. Ended up with too much rope at the bottom, so I just wrapped it up with a seashell and an old fishing float. I don't know if I love the job I did on that, but I did it. I totally forgot to talk about Quint's M1951 field jacket. I found that on eBay. It was for my Quint costume. I made the name badge from a piece of like canvas webbing. I painstakingly researched the stitch pattern on his sleeves where those rips are in the movie, and also the one on the pocket. I took that pocket flap off. So that's my Quint M1951 field jacket there. On the side of the house there is an old black like military food storage barrel that I found on like sportsmansguide.com, I think. I'm probably going to at some point paint that yellow and wrap some nautical rope around it and make it into one of the Jaws barrels. It's not accurate to the ones in the movie. Those barrels in the movie are no longer in production. They changed the design of those barrels like right after the movie was filmed. If you can find them now, they are incredibly expensive. I'm just not willing to pay thousands of dollars for a barrel just because it's the same design from a film. As awesome as they are, I'm gonna have to make do with what I have. At some point, I would like to make a sign that says, here's to swimming with bow-legged women, and hang that up here on one of these support beams. I would like to also have like a no swimming under order of Amity PD sign. My friend Dylan Waltner, ex-Navy man, in one of my YouTube videos I talked about wanting to try Narragansett, and this dude was nice enough to send me an entire 24 pack of retro Narragansett cans in the yellow, like original yellow cans from the 1970s. I since drank all of them. There is a YouTube video that I made of me crushing it like Quint. If you want to watch that video, you can check that out here. I saved all the cans, and I'm probably going to make a little display of the Narragansett cans and put them like maybe up top here, because there's a little flat area above that I could put like a little shelf. So yeah, the barrel will get added, the signs will get added, the Narragansett cans will get added. The Jaws area is much like the Tiki Bar, ever growing and ever changing. So look for more Jaws stuff, and it'll all kind of go in this little area. Jaws Corner. Quint's Corner. I'll dub this Quint's Corner. How about that? This is now Quint's Corner. Excellent. Quint's Corner, Chiefy. Down here, I have a whole bunch of these Captain's Dining chairs that I found at Savers Thrift Store in Vacaville, and those were like $10 a piece. And I got, I think, like 4 or 5 of them. One's in my office in my house. There's another one in my garage. At some point, all of those will end up out here. This is an old World War II wooden foot trunk that I got from that same guy that is having the estate sale. If I move this bamboo mat, you can see there's still a lot of like stickers and stuff on there. It belonged to someone named O.J. Rottmiller, who I tried Googling and couldn't find much on, but I would like to research the history of this because it did belong to someone. Otto J. Rottmiller, Lieutenant. I guess that was his foot trunk. So I want to honor that. At some point, I'm probably going to cover all of the stickers and stuff with like some layers of plexiglass so that they kind of preserve them. That way I can like wipe them down and keep them sort of protected from the elements, because I don't want those to rot away. I want to make sure that those stay there. The leather straps on this side completely fell off, and the leather strap on this side is still there, but it is snapped in half. So I may at some point take those off and replace them with newer straps, or not. I don't know. It adds to the personality, but it would be cool to be able to have new leather straps on the side of that. So I guess this is also kind of the World War II area, because a big part of the theming of my bar is South Pacific, you know, World War II items. The story of the bar is about a captain that was a Navy man in World War II and shipwrecked himself on this mysterious island and started his own little trading post. So a lot of the decor of the bar is going to be like World War II stuff, like foot trunks and helmets. But in addition to that foot trunk, out here on this little table, I have this old vintage fan, and that thing still works. If I plug that in, it does operate, but the cord's a little frayed, and I don't want to start a fire, so I bought this helmet. It's a World War II helmet. I got that from an Army Navy surplus store in my hometown when I was in high school. We used to have a really cool Army Navy surplus store that had closed a long time ago. My friend Mike and I were in there every day after school looking at and buying all the cool shit that they used to sell. And a lot of the stuff that I have now is from that Army Navy surplus store. When they closed, they had like a clearance, and a lot of that stuff was marked down. And so I ended up picking up a lot of like flight suits and helmets and flight caps and all kinds of really cool stuff for like almost nothing. I believe it's a Swiss military helmet. Found a picture online of a Swiss military helmet. I cannot remember the helmet model number right now. I'll put a title card down below with the name of it. The lines and the grommets and the inside and everything match exactly, so I'm pretty sure that that's what it is a Swiss helmet. This is that nautical lantern that I found at the antique store a couple weeks ago. I need to rewire that with my own light system. We'll make that into another lamp, because you can't have too many lamps in a tiki bar, right? Lamps, lamps, lamps. This whole ceiling at some point will be filled with lamps. Hi, mamas. What are you doing? Oh, hello. Oh, you got stickers all up in yous. This is our mama cat. We have some kittens indoors that are about a year old now, and this is the mama. She was abandoned. We got her fixed so she wouldn't have more babies. And she's our outside jungle cat. She hunts mice and voles and keeps all the other stray cats away. She's a sweetheart, but don't make her mad. So she's been a wonderful, wonderful outside cat. She's our bar mascot, I think. You're a good girl, huh, Hans? All right, well, continuing on with the tour of the lounge section, we also have this little area here. This stuff will all probably get moved around, but I have this Halloween skull that I put this aviator cap on and these old like motorcycle goggles. Some Air Force trooper that crash landed on the island ages ago, perhaps. There's like a staghorn. I just found that. At some point, probably what I'll do is lash that with some twine, probably hang it up here and make it into like a little coat rack or hat rack or something. Or it could just be another place for me to line dry my Hawaiian shirts. Always line dry your Hawaiian shirts, guys. I wash mine in a mesh bag and I dry them out here on a clothing line at midnight and only under the light of a full moon. That's how you have to line dry your Hawaiian shirts. Only way to go. Does wonders for the fabric. I've got some mint that I am propagating. Again, guys, grow your own mint. Super easy to propagate, and once it's established, you cannot kill it. It will take over everything. We will have a mint jungle out here at some point. Here's an old ship's bell. Little tiny doll peacock chair I found. I'll either use that for a plant stand, but what I really want to do with this is get an old male doll and turn it into Don the Beachcomber and set him in there with a little cocktail to honor the man who grandfathered the modern day tiki bar, right? Don Beach. Because there's a famous photograph of Don Beach at his bamboo bar that he opened in Los Angeles. He had a peacock chair that he would sit in front of the bar and smoke his pipe and drink his cocktails and greet guests. I want to make a little doll, put it in that little seat. I got this barrel from my old job at a grocery store. They had some display barrels that they didn't want anymore. That thing I've had for ages. It's been part of pirate displays for Halloween, and eventually I'm going to turn this into a table, and these little wrought iron bar stools here and here will get reupholstered in a more appropriate Hawaiian tribal fabric, and you can sit at this little barrel table and have your drink or whatnot. I need to get a wooden round that is about 35 inches in diameter, because I found some Hawaiian bar cloth recently at the antique store cut into a round circle, and it's about 36 inches in diameter. So I need to find a matching diameter table round to put on top of this barrel, and then my plan is to take that tribal bar cloth, put it on top of the table, and then a plexiglass cover over that, and then underneath that plexiglass, but above the bar cloth, I can put like old postcards or matchbook covers or art from various tiki bars that I've collected over the years and make a little display table out of it. It's a ship's wheel. Not really sure what I'm going to do with that yet. It looks pretty good right there for right now with the fishnets and everything hanging on it. At some point I might find a better place to hang that. I found this old nail barrel. Came with this nautical rope. At some point I'm going to brand the word rum into the side of that and suspend it from the ceiling somewhere over here. But until then it sits there waiting for me to get around to yet another one of my many unfinished projects that I have going on out here. So many projects, guys, so many projects. This is just a little rope swing. I had a plank of redwood left over from like an old picnic table or something. Scavenged all of the redwood bits and made a little swing. It's kind of not in the best place. You know, I may relocate it to another area of the bar or out into the yard under the tree. I'm not really sure, but for now it's right here and people can sit in it and hang out. I'm a big fan of swings. Swings are nice. It's nice to rock while you sit, you know? It's relaxing, right? So moving on to the other side of the lounge along the house. This is an old, I thought it was an ammo crate, but it's, I guess it was fireworks? 144 Signal Aircraft, double star red. Or maybe they were signal flares. But I thought the box was just cool as shit. That dude that has the ongoing estate sale had this box just sitting in a barn. He sold it to me for 20 bucks. So I've just turned that into a little side table. Got one of these bamboo mats here that I found at the antique store a while back. It makes a nice little tray to set on that table. This is the most tiki ashtray that I own, and it's got a really cool bottom on it. It's almost a shame that you have to set it down because you can't really see all these cool lines and stuff on the bottom of the ashtray. I don't know who the maker of that is. It just says 7009 USA. That is by far my favorite ashtray that I own. Found that at a local festival. These are some wooden tiki cups that I found at a thrift store. They were apparently $1 each. This is a Doug Horn wall relief that I found at a like some kind of a tiki themed store in San Diego when I vacationed there ages ago. I don't remember the name of the place. It's probably not still there. It wasn't Oceanic Arts or anything like that. I never got to go to Oceanic Arts. One of my greatest regrets in life is that I never ever fulfilled my bucket list dream of visiting Oceanic Arts before it was disbanded. Single tier. But it's Doug Horn. Apparently I paid $40 for it. The spears are made from bamboo skewers, which I thought was kind of cool. At some point I think I'm gonna put that on the front of my bar as like the centerpiece thing that draws your eye to the front of the bar. This is an African mask, I think. African masks, not really being traditionally tiki, but I really like the mask, and my bar is kind of a mishmash jungle adventure themed bar. So I did hang him up there. I got that at a mall somewhere here in California in the 90s. There used to be guys that would set up shops in the middle of the mall and just sell like statues and masks and stuff. I don't even know for sure. Collected so much stuff, I don't remember where I bought half of it. These are some old mid-century Danish modern couches that I've had for ages that are in horrible shape, but they are sturdy, and at some point I may try and clean them up and restore the wood, but I don't know, I think they kind of look good being rather dilapidated like that. You know, it kind of goes along with the scavenged look that I'm going for. These are nothing special. These are just some hardware store tropical cushions that I found that happen to fit pretty well on these benches. I took the old cushions off and put those on. This is I think a Texas Longhorn display that my uncle gave me. He's like, hey, you want this thing? It's been in my barn for years and I don't want it anymore. Hell yeah, I want that. To make it a little more tiki, I think I'm gonna find some like cheetah print, leopard print fabric and like attach the cheetah print to the back of that. I think that would be kind of funny to have a Texas Longhorn with cheetah print on the back of it. And then at some point that's gonna get hung on one of these beams up here and just be another place that people can hang stuff from, or that I can hang stuff from. I have this little table between the couches. This is an old Merceman like game table, and it's getting a little trashed, but I think what I'm gonna do is like tiki that up. I'm probably gonna leave the wood color here the same, but I'm going to cover the top and the shelf on the bottom with some Lahala matting or some kind of woven grass cloth, and then frame it in with bamboo slats. But that'll get a tiki makeover. This radio belonged to my grandmother. It does turn on and light up, and you can hear the static. The knob doesn't really turn very well anymore, and can't really get any sound out of it. But what I'm gonna, whoop, there you go. Hey.
Skin spots.
Well, that's the first time I've gotten a signal out of that thing in years. Maybe it was a good idea to move it outside. What I'm probably gonna do with that radio is just leave it there, turn it on so the lights are going, And then I'm gonna hide like some Bluetooth speakers underneath here, sync them to my hi-fi in my bedroom, and that way when I have parties and stuff I can play my Exotica records on my record player, and the Bluetooth speakers can pump out sound, and I'll put them kind of underneath that table so that the sound from the record player Bluetooth speaker sounds like it's coming from the radio. That's an idea that I got from Spike on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour, so thank you, Spike. Another old ashtray, California 59115. No idea, but thought that was a really cool ashtray. And an old tiki candle holder. Got that face on that side and his grumpy face on that side. Maxine, that was made by somebody named Maxine in 1975. It's the year I was born, and the year the Vietnam War ended, and the year Jaws came out. Good year, guys, good year. This used to be at my grandmother's house. Just used to hold like stuffed animals, but to me it looked like a little gear hammock that like Quint or a captain of some lobster boat would have hanging in his cabin to store all of his gear. So I hung it up there, and I'm using it to store this old Rothco canvas rucksack and propane canisters and rope and whatever other gear I might want to store up there. So it just kind of looks like a little sailor hammock. At some point I want to get like some big bunch of bananas or like a group of like coconuts, like fruit and burlap bags and stuff from it, just to kind of look like an area you might have in like a trading post. But that's what that is. I forgot to talk about these louvered doors. I've had these things for a long time. They never really got installed as closet doors. They just kind of came with me every time I moved houses, and we've had them for years. So I just hung them here on the edges of the beams to kind of act as like a little extra barrier from the sun. My goal at one point was to buy more of these doors, stain them with the same stain, varnish them all, fill up this entire gap of the patio right here with the doors. But those louvered doors are fairly expensive, and I think unless I found them cheap on like Facebook Marketplace or something, that might cost me a lot. Plus, I want to be able to look out into the yard at some point when the yard is looking a little nicer. But I do think that what I might do is find more of the louvered doors and just do this same thing that I have done here and here, and do the same thing where all of the gaps in the patio are, just as like a little accent piece. And it's also a nice place that you can clip stuff to, like postcards, or just another area to hang and display things. I could even get like cable ties and hang like pictures here and stuff like that. So I might do that in these other areas over here as well. The only other thing over here I didn't talk about is guy across the street in an old agricultural yard was getting rid of like a shit ton of old pallets. So I just dragged these home. They're kind of in rough shape. Those were like the better looking ones. It's two small ones and a big one. I have no idea what I'm going to do with those yet. I might make bar shelving out of them. I might use them on the side of the house as part of a bridge. I really don't know. But they were free and I couldn't resist bringing them home. If you guys have any ideas about what I could do with those pallets, let me know. I'm always up for suggestions. Drop a comment. Well, let's move on to the middle section, and we'll take a look at the bar area. All right? Cool. All right, this right here is the bar. I'll get into all the decor, but we'll start with talking about the bar itself. The bar was free. It was in the gutter, and it had a big fat free sign on it. This is like a 1970s tufted vinyl bar. It is not intrinsically tiki, but I am going to tiki it up a bit. It was free, and I couldn't pass it up. But I am probably gonna put that Doug Horn print on the front there. I thought about using vinyl paint to paint the vinyl a different color, like orange or red or something, or even green. But honestly, at this point, I think I kind of like the brown. At some point, I'm gonna remove this foot rail. It's just like a piece of square aluminum or something, but I'm gonna unscrew these screws, take off this foot rail, and replace it with a bamboo pole. All of the wood sections on the top and the bottom are gonna get covered in La Hala matting, and I'll probably lay some nautical rope in the grooves as detailing. On the top of that, again, I'll probably put like a plexiglass sheet and screw that down. And then underneath the plexiglass, I can again use that to store like all of my postcards and matchbook covers and vintage menus and things like that that I've collected over the years. So we'll tiki up that bar. These bar stools, they're like Captain's swivel bar stools that I briefly talked about in another video that I made. I will probably replace the seat cushions on these with either some bamboo woven pillows or perhaps some like Hawaiian bar cloth cushions that I can make from scratch. for now, even just plain, I think they look pretty good. This bar stool was at Savers thrift store and it was like $12. It doesn't swivel and I don't like the fabric at all, so I'm gonna replace this with something more Hawaiian. Thought it was funny that it has in Sharpie written on there, Hawk, Haake, and I thought about removing that with some alcohol and getting rid of it, but then I saw on this side someone wrote Mike, comma, Hawk. Mike, Hawk. My cock. So I'm not gonna remove that because I think that's hilarious. My cock is gonna stay. On the bar top itself, we just have some various things. I have my coconut monkey that I bought ages ago someplace, I don't even know. It's a bank. So what I'm gonna do is actually write tips on there and some red paint, and that way if I'm having a party or something and anybody wants to throw a quarter in there or something and leave me a tip, they can do that. This is a little Fire King mug that looked to me like the shell of a pineapple, so I bought that to keep, like, right now it's got my Indiana Jones stag-handled pocket knife in there, but I'll probably use that to hold like swizzle sticks or something. That's an El Muerte tiki mug that I just found on eBay. There's an old ceramic elephant planter that a family friend gave to me, and then it's just got my wine bottle opener in there for right now. There's some pretzels, because sometimes I get hungry. There's a photograph of my late grandmother and my late grandfather in Jamaica. I don't know what year that's from. Probably the 1960s, maybe 70s. I love that picture, I always have, so gotta have some family, personal things in the bar. Found this awesome ice bucket on Etsy, spike top. On the inside is mother of pearl. It's got those like mother of pearl shells. And then I have all these crates. Joann Fabrics had like a big clearance sale on fake plants and wooden crates. And these things are usually like 15 bucks, but they were all on sale for like $10. So I bought a bunch of them. And I've been like burning them with propane torches and staining them. This one you can see I did the propane torch burning of the wood, scraped it off with a metal brush, and then did like a light pecan stain on it. I'm doing all of them in a slightly different stain. I want some of them to be lighter, some of them to be darker, some of them to be reddish, some of them to be natural, so that there's like a mix of colors. I'm gonna make my bar back shelving to hold all my rum and mugs and everything. I'm gonna use these crates and I'm gonna stack them. They will go up and across, and I'll probably put like a wood plank across here between the crates to store my drink mixer, my blenders, and then I'm probably gonna build the crates up and over the top of the bar and then back down. This guy, they call him Homer because he looks like Homer Simpson to me. I've had this guy for ages, and I think I got him at the same mall where I got that African mask back there in the lounge. I don't know anything about him. I've never seen, he's got no markings on him at all. He's like my, sort of my unofficial mascot tiki. I've used his picture in like a lot of things that I've done over the years. Yeah, he's just like, I don't know. I saw like one tiki mug for sale online a long time ago that used the same mold as this, but it was like a homemade mug. So I don't know if this is like some kind of a home mold that somebody used to sell, but if anybody knows anything about this dude or what his story is, let me know, because he literally has no markings or branding. He's like one of my favorite tikis that I have. So we got some hanging shell things. We have a glass fishing float that I got from Cost Plus. That was on clearance for like $15. My only regret is that I didn't buy them up because they had a whole bunch of them and they were 15 bucks, and usually those things go for like $50 or $60. I should have bought them out. I should have bought all of them. They were all green, but still, I should have bought more. I got one. This bamboo blind used to be over here as shade for the patio. I had a bunch of them, but all the rest of them got destroyed in a huge windstorm. I was at work one day and it got really, really windy here, and the shades were all lowered, and I forgot to pull them up in the morning, and I didn't know it was gonna get windy. And I came home after my shift and they were all on the ground destroyed, except for that one. So I rolled it up and moved it off of the patio beams and moved it over here. And the reason I did that is because, number one, no white walls in a tiki bar, right? So eventually all of these walls need to get covered in some kind of a textile. The other reason I put that there is because the window to my shower is behind that, and I didn't want a giant window showing right behind my bar, so I hung that there to kind of hide the window. And it makes a nice little backdrop for the bar, I think, don't you? And all the slats are great because I just realized like the other day that I can actually use those slats to hang my pictures. My pride and joy is this awesome black velvet tiger head print. He's sort of the bar guardian. He's the protector of the Kapena Cove bar. I've got some more pictures down here that I actually need to find somewhere to hang. I was gonna hang them up here on this, but I don't want too many pictures up there because ultimately they're just gonna get moved. But there's another photograph of my my late grandfather and my late grandmother who just passed away earlier this year. This is when my grandfather was stationed in San Diego in the Navy. I think he's holding some kind of a fish, but that photograph had to go in my bar. So that I gotta find a place of honor to hang that. There's a really cool like catamaran, like a little outrigger that I bought a long time ago at a furniture shop in Davis, California. And this is that rhododendron print that I found at the Woodland Antique Mall a couple weeks ago. This is all my art that I gotta find places for out here. I just gotta make areas to hang it. And this guy I found at the thrift store. I have no idea who he is. Looks like this was taken on Catalina Island, but he's a very happy man. He caught a lot of fish. I have no idea who he is. I don't know if this is like a real person. I don't know if this is like a screenshot from some movie, but I just thought it was really funny, and so I bought it, and that'll go up somewhere, probably in a more appropriate frame. There's those treasure craft mugs that I found recently. Empty bottles of rum out here.
But why is the rum gone?
Eventually all this stuff will go on these shelves. It's our old Squawker's macaw that belonged to my daughter. Now he lives in the tiki bar. My tiny captain's wheel, which may make its way onto my bar sign when I make my bar sign for Kapena Cove. It'll say like Kapena, ship's wheel right in the middle, Cove on the other side of that, all in bamboo on a giant plank of wood, and I'll hang that right over here above the slider. This is my little Arito that I found on eBay. He's made of resin. He's like some kind of a weird little tropical bird of some kind on a perch. He's now part of the bar. Here's that Hawaiian style plant stand that I found recently. Another like bamboo hanging thing that will eventually become a lamp. Another shell planter with a little fake plant in it. I want to get like a philodendron or like a hanging plant from here so that it drapes down, but for now it's just got this fake dollar store plant in it. And this awesome lamp I got from the antique store as well. It came already made into a lamp, so I could not pass that up. Some fishing floats, and I've attached another ship's bell that I bought to that, so when I do my YouTube videos, that's my call to subscribe bell. Subscribe to the channel, guys. And that's a waste basket. It was like listed as a waste basket. Found that at a thrift shop and turned it into a lamp. Anything can become a lamp, guys. I'm always on the lookout for bamboo and rattan nonsense to turn into hanging lamps. I'll show you my light setup. They always tell you hire an electrician when you build your tiki bar because you're gonna need a lot of power for lamps and music and things. But I'm not gonna hire an electrician because I'm cheap. I'm just running extension cords from the front of my house and my garage all the way along the house to the backyard and plugging in power strips, and that's powering all my lamps, and it works for me. So here's the lighting setup. It's just a power strip, and I have a little Christmas on-off thing for tree lights. So if I push this little guy right here, click, click, the lamps come on. And so far I just have that one and that one, but I do have more power strips back there so I can put some more lamps. Kind of nice to be able to, at a click of a button, turn on and off a lamp grouping. Lighting out here right now is just extension cords and power strips. Is it the safest thing in the world? Maybe not. They're outdoor rated extension cords, and if the weather gets too hot or rainy, I can always unplug them and roll them up. But probably what I'll do at some point is get some like conduit to put around them so they can kind of stay out year round without having too many problems. What else can I show you? That's mostly the bar. On the other side of the bar, over here in this middle section above, this is kind of like the little jungle adventure area. I have my vintage binoculars. These are very much the same looking binoculars that Indiana Jones used in Last Crusade when he was with his dad spying on the Nazis in the desert. They're almost exact replicas, right down to that little dent on the front of the glass there. Pretty close match. Got my pith helmet. Got my other pith helmet. It's exactly like the one Belloc wore in Raiders, at the beginning of Raiders. I don't know what this thing is, but it's gonna become a lamp at some point. Just got this guy from Smokin' Tikis. He makes some really cool like tiki masks. It's kind of reminiscent of the Papua New Guinean Disney mask, I guess, like the Trader Sam's one sort of. And then that guy also is from Smokin' Tikis. Kind of like a more, I guess, Marquesan style maybe. That's just a straw, like Chinese hat. Gonna make it into a lamp top, but I kind of like the way it looks just hanging there. There's a crate that I kind of just hung up there on a couple of screws. It's a little crooked. But right now that's just a shelf. But at some point, I'll probably move that somewhere else. I don't really want that there. I was trying something, and there's another Asian hat, and there's like an opium pipe that I found at an antique store a long time ago. So I guess this is kind of becoming the sort of like Oriental Asian area here. It's a tiki bar, right? But I want to have that vibe of like a Trader Vic's where you kind of have things from like all over the world. I'm not pigeonholing my bar into just like South Seas ephemera. I want kind of like a world traveler kind of thing going on. So while I am going to have tiki masks and tikis, the traditional things that a tiki bar would have, I'm also incorporating some other like nautical and world travel elements, which I think fall right in line with that vibe just fine, regardless of what a lot of the purists say. And I know I'm going to post this video in like the Facebook groups, and there's going to be somebody that hops on that tells me that's not tiki, you're doing it wrong. Hey man, I know what tiki is, I know what tiki's supposed to be, I understand Sven Kirsten's rules of what constitutes tiki and what doesn't. You got to know the rules so you know how to break them properly, right? For those of you that might tell me that my tiki bar is not a tiki bar, I respect your opinion, but I reject your hypothesis. We could still be friends. Yeah, so I don't know, I just have some stuff hanging up. This giant fish net right here I bought one from a dude on eBay. It's like an old commercial fishing net. He sent me the wrong size, it was too small, so he sent me another one for free, and I ended up lashing them together in the middle to make one giant net, and I'm gonna hang bamboo from both ends of that, and then one piece right down the middle, and then that's gonna get strapped to the ceiling of my bar. And that'll be like a nice central place where it'll add some visual interest, but also it'll be an area where I can actually hang things from the bamboo that I have for us right down here. But I made these like bamboo poles, wrapped some twine around and made little loop hooks. So yeah, those are gonna get like zip tied and then hung from the ceiling. I can hang more lamps, fishing floats, puffer fish, and then it'll be like a little fishnet swoop of bamboo and fish netting on the ceiling there. And I'll probably do that eventually. I'll probably do that in all three sections. Do one there on the lounge part, and one here in the bar part, and then one over here on the ceiling of like the jungle area as well. And now we'll move over to the third and final section, which is going to be like the sort of jungle overgrowth area. I've kind of got a lot of different things in mind for this, and this is by far the most unfinished of the areas. But we'll start over here. So this is my tiki fountain that I built earlier this summer. I just have this tiki mask that I bought at Cost Plus a long time ago. Water spills out into this clamshell and into this other clamshell, and I have a bunch of jungle foliage, plants, vines, all kinds of stuff like that around it. That has become my little relaxing outdoor tiki fountain that I've been wanting to build for about the past 5 years, and finally decided to go ahead and do it. This is like a hanging bird cage that, ironically, I hung it out here and put some like fake vines in it, and then we had birds that actually nested in there and had their babies 2 years in a row. Ended up being an actual bird cage. I never really wanted birds in there, but they ended up going and finding that anyway because it was like a safe spot on the patio where they could have their babies. So there's still like bird crap and like eggshells in there from when they hatched and a nest. At some point I'll clean that out and actually turn that into a lamp. I want to put like a red bulb in there, but for now it's just a hanging point of interest. That moai right there, it's like a planter. It's kind of hiding back there. All these plants were from Joann's. Some of them are from like the thrift store. Like I found these at the thrift store. These are from the thrift store. Anytime I see fake plants when I'm in the thrift store, I always buy them. That's a cheap way to get foliage really quick. This tiki was given to me by my neighbor. I posted a video of my fountain, and my awesome artist neighbors asked me if I wanted an old tiki that they had in their yard, and I said absolutely. It's like a version of the Pele statue from like the tiki room at Disneyland. So I was super stoked to receive that. This right here was just a Scentsy lantern that I found at the thrift store. It had like the wax on the top. You plug it in and then it like heats up and it smells really good. But I took the wax part out, and this is like part of an old bird feeder, but it just fit up here perfectly. So I made the top for this lantern out of a scavenged roof of like a bird feeder, and now it's a nautical lantern. There's a spider. He's not part of the decor. I think he's just dead. This bamboo chair I found for 20 bucks at a thrift store. Came with this footstool. The cushions are just like cheap cushions that I found at the hardware store. But I have a little power strip back here with a little timer on it. And if I click that on, it turns on that light, and it turns on all these little pond lights that I got and lights up the pond at night. And eventually it'll also turn on a little red bulb for that. And I also want to put like a bulb behind this guy's eyes so that at night those come on and it makes it look like his eyes are glowing red. And also my outdoor LED that shines light on this entire fountain. It looks really cool when all this stuff's lit up at night. This is my planter shed. I got that on Amazon. I thought it looked really cool. Turned it into like a little nautical area. I have this old Cutty Sark box that I found, and I just got all my booze bottles from the house and put those in there. Bamboo fish float. I found that on eBay like in the early 2000s. Thought about turning that into a lamp, but I kind of like the way it looks up here, so I might just leave it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I could even just put a light in there. I could get some solar lights and put one of them in there so that at night it just lights up above the shed or something like that. But I kind of just like the way I've displayed that. I have all my Japanese like gardening tools hanging up here. There's my weed cutter. This thing is amazing. This thing will get into the ground and knock out your weeds really fast. I love that thing. But yeah, it's just a potting shed. It just houses all my crap. There's my gardening clothes and extra pond tubing and my gardening gloves and my saws and all my flower pots and everything like that. I got some bamboo fencing. It's 8 feet long, 4 feet tall, and it's gonna fit perfectly between the fountain and the potting shed. So this will get moved, and that bamboo fencing is gonna go right along there under the window. And then I'm going to rig some sort of little jungle planter wall here. And this is all gonna be filled with tropical plants. And then that's gonna frame that window. And then I'm gonna hang more vines and things and plants up here hanging down. So this entire wall is essentially going to be like a living wall of jungle foliage. And that's gonna fill in this whole side of the house. Over here, I have my mid-century Eames era fireplace that eventually I want to hook like a gas line up to maybe and have like a fire in there, or I might just light it with like a flicker bulb so it looks like it's a fireplace. But right now it's just sitting out here. I got this sucker for about $120 from a Haitian antique dealer that used to have a shop out here where I live. He's long gone. The place is long closed. It's now an Ace Hardware, but that guy's place was awesome, and he had all kinds of like Hawaiian stuff. It was like a little Oceanic Arts antique shop out here in this little town where I live. And he just had this fireplace sitting there, and he said like 120 bucks, and I was like, deal. Because if you bought this online now, you're talking like hundreds if not thousands of dollars for like a fireplace like that. So I feel like I got a pretty good deal on that guy right there. This area houses my hammock that's in the fat middle of everything right now. Saving cardboard for something over there that I'll talk about in a minute, but this is the movie screen. I'm not gonna pull it down because I can't really get over there right now, but I'm of the mind to make this into also an outdoor movie theater. If I have like a party, we have the bar, we have the lounge, and then this area can be like the theater. I want to put like a little couch or some theater seats, and then if you want to come out here and hang out and sit down and have a drink, you can watch a movie. I want to call it the Driftwood Drive-In, make it like a little nautical, tropical, tiki movie watching area, right? Again, these drop cloths are temporary. It shades from the sun and the wind and the dust and keeps everything out here protected. That's a temporary solution. Eventually those drop cloths will come down. What I'm going to do, not just on this wall, but also in this opening over here probably, and also along the sides of the patio, I want to get a bunch of these pressure treated posts and make a vertical pillar system every couple of feet like I have here. And then I want to lay bamboo poles going across laterally to make like a grid, and then hang fish nets and nautical rope and everything from it. And it'll also be a place where I can hang hooks and carabiners for more decor, right? And I can hang a lot of my tiki art also on those grids. So I'm going to do that at every one of these openings and along the sides, except for the middle, which I'm going to leave open so you can walk out into the yard and get in and off the patio without having to go all the way around the sides. And it'll just semi-enclose the patio so that everything out here is a little more protected and feels a little bit more like a living room and not so open to the elements. And it also is going to be more of a privacy screen so that neighbors on either side don't have to worry about looking in on me when I'm out here hanging out. It's just a little more privacy. So, and the other big summer project that has been a nightmare, unfortunately, I've got a lot of Bermuda grass, as you can see, that's kind of taken over the garden beds on the sides of my yard, and it kind of took over this area here, which used to be a rock path. This was all filled with river rocks and stepping stones. The Bermuda grass needed to go, so I'm by hand. I've been digging up these rocks and separating the rocks out into piles. I finally got a tarp just to put them all on because I ran out of buckets to keep them in. Digging up all the dirt down to the Bermuda grass roots, ripping all the Bermuda grass out by hand, which is about the only way you can get rid of Bermuda grass. And then once I dig all that out, I'm gonna lay down cardboard, which is why I'm saving all this cardboard that's sitting on my hammock. Wet the cardboard down, weed mat over that, and then lay the rock back down and then put the stepping stones back. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that keeps the Bermuda grass off the path. And then after that, I'm gonna have to go through and get it out of the beds and get some bamboo or tropical plants to fill up the space on the garden beds and do my best to keep that Bermuda grass out of there. It is a process, as anybody that's dealt with Bermuda grass knows. If you don't want it, it is a hard thing to get rid of permanently. So we'll see how that goes, but... Sorry guys, my camera battery zonked, I had to go charge it. Anyway, long story short, what I was saying is, this shit sucks. Bermuda grass is lame, it's the devil, and I hate it. Moving on. You know what? Essentially, that's Kapena Cove. That is the bar so far. We're approaching the end of the video. If you made it this far and you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free for you, helps me out. I mean, it's your life, you do what you want, but you know, you might as well. Ding that notification bell, get notified when new videos drop. Mahalo for watching. I hope you found it entertaining, I hope you found it educational, and I hope you found it, dare I say, enlightening. From Captain Jeremy at Kapena Cove, to you, aloha. So long.